On today's show, a naked kid, a tiger, and a panther walk into a theater. Plus, we get a new trailer for the new LAIKA film, and the Russo brothers say the Avengers' current runtime is 3 hours. Stop editing. I'm already going. Movie Talk starts right now. I'm telling you, man, 3 hours is all we get for the event. I need at least 6 hours of that. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Collider Movie Talk. I am thrilled to be joined by some special guests here today. They all are on the hit Nerdist show Fangirling and have a bunch of other projects going on. Over there is Sam Maggs making her debut. How you doing, Sam?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
So happy to have you over here. Right next to her is Dani Fernandez, who you've seen on Movie Talk amongst other shows here at Collider, and she has the best dog in the world.
Oh, yes. I think that there should be an hour for each Avenger, right? Like, let's just wrap up those storylines. An hour for each.
An hour for each Avenger, and then 90 minutes for the raccoon because he's adorable and is
the rabbit.
Rocket.
The rabbit.
The sweet rabbit. Excuse me.
Sweet rabbit.
Markeia McCarty also joining us here today. How you doing, Markeia?
Oh, I'm great. No, it's good to be back on Movie Talk and especially talking about Avengers and LAIKA and Avengers. And like Avengers.
And UglyDolls.
We're here to talk about Avengers. There's some UglyDolls. There's a whole lot of news stories to get to today, but we kick off up top with some breaking news from director Chris McKay. He did the Lego Batman movie. Now it's announced he's doing a live-action Jonny Quest movie. So if you don't know what Jonny Quest is, it was an animated show that I never really paid attention to, and it was on Saturday mornings, but I knew it was about a kid in outer space, and now it's going to be a live-action film directed by Chris McKay, so he's going to try to follow in the Brad Bird-type footsteps of going from animated films into the world of live action. Now, it's certainly worked out very well for Brad Bird. Dani Fernandez, you're the one that brought this story to my attention. Earlier today, I got a text from Dani saying, are we talking about this? And I said, it's probably something we should bring up. Chris McKay doing a live action Jonny Quest movie.
Yeah.
Is he the right guy? Should he be doing live action? Is this the right property to bring to live action?
Well, he follows me, so I just want to slip my audition to him. That's mainly it. I'll send him a clip of this. No, I think it's really cool, and I definitely think he's a great director to take this on. I think he will be successful like Brad Bird. But yeah, I didn't really, Sam, you said that your dad grew up watching it.
Jonny
so
Quest
by proxy,
like,
did you grow up watching it?
A little bit. It was my dad's favorite animated show when he was growing up. So I sent him this news today and he was like, oh no. Because like, I think we all have that a little bit when something that was like really near and dear. Like if they announced today that they were doing a live action Sailor Moon movie, I'd probably be like.
I think there are a couple of those.
Look, there's musicals.
Yeah,
there's a lot of fan-made, and then there's a few television shows that are also.
I was going to say, I live.
But Jonny Quest, I do know. Yeah, no, I have all of it whenever you want to see it.
I've seen them. They're super good.
Is it something that's going to be able to translate well to live action? Because we've seen it done very well, and we've seen it done not so well. When you take an animated property that is beloved by generations of fans, and it goes to live action, doesn't always work that well. Do you think
Dragon Ball Evolution?
Absolutely. I think absolutely that Jonny Quest can. It's kind of like Indiana Jones, but as a family kind of a thing. And plus, I would love to see Haji done live action. I always thought he was the hot one out of the two of them.
Yeah,
it was Jonny Quest and Haji. And then he was so sensitive, but and also all about meditation and was able to hypnotize animals and all of this. Okay, maybe not the hypnotizing animals thing. They don't need to have that in it, but everything else, the baseline of what Jonny Quest is, just this adventure, this little cartoon adventure epic. I could see that in live action.
And what I really liked about what Chris McKay was able to do with the Lego Batman movie is he took all the lore of Batman, not just for comedic purposes, so he mined deep into that. I thought the Lego Batman was the best representation since Batman the Animated Series of the Joker versus Batman, how as much as they hate each other, they kind of need each other. Now, I don't know if there's anything like that between Jonny and Haji or anybody else in the world of Jonny Quest, but Chris McKay doing the live-action Jonny Quest movie, that's all the news we have right now as they cast it and make more announcements. We'll keep you updated right here at Movie Talk. And we move on to our first official story, and that's the one that I'm excited to chat about because it's surrounding Avengers Infinity War Part 2. That's not the title of the movie, so I'm not sure what the title is. We don't know a lot about the movie, but the Russo brothers have said that they're finished shooting. They're in post-production now. They're just kicking off the visual effects shot, which, let's be honest, that's the bulk of the movie. They mentioned that over 3,000 shots are going to be visual effects heavy. So while they work on that, Joe Russo mentioned that the cut that they have right now is sitting right around 3 hours. Now, they have plenty of time because the movie doesn't come out until May 4th of 2019 to actually edit it and shop it the way they want. Markeia, you give me 3 hours of Avengers. I'm asking the opposite question, because usually in a situation like this, you'd say, is 3 hours too much? Is 3 hours enough to tell all of the story, to wrap up all the loose ends that we got from Avengers Infinity War? What say you?
Well, the thing of it is that I think that they're restricting themselves, and they don't need to do that. They can hit me at like 3.5 hours and I'll be good. I'm talking like the Abyss director's cut. I am A-okay with that when it comes to Avengers 4, especially because when you think of how much they have to, I don't want to use the phrase answer for, but I kind of have to, because what they did to Black Panther. But no, with this, with like Avengers 4, it's like they're not only wrapping up, everything that happened in that phase, they're trying to kick off the next one too. It's like, and there's so much to put in there. I mean, there's Ant-Man and the Wasp and what happened in the final credits. I'm sorry if you haven't seen that already. With the quantum realm, go see it. It's well worth it.
And don't
there's
leave early.
So much.
Yeah. I feel like, with older movies like Ben-Hur, how they used to put an intermission into the middle, you know what I'm talking about, where they'd give you like a 5-minute pee break. I'm into that. Like, give me 2.5 hours of the Avengers, and then like give me an intermission so I can go get more popcorn, and then I'll come back and watch another 2.5 hours. Like, I'm in. I'm good. Like, let's do it.
I actually loved that call of an intermission. The only issue that I would have if I'm running the studio here is I'm saying, look, you got to trim this movie down to 2.5, because I want as many screenings of this film as possible. There's only so many hours in a day, Dani. That's the big issue they're going to have. If it's 3 hours long, but we can make so much cash with this. So what is the fair median for you? Is it maybe 2.5, or do you think that we could actually do 3 hours and still be able to break all the box office records?
Well, see, we're huge nerds, so I feel like we would do 3 hours, but that's not all of America. That's not everyone that's going to theaters. So, and I feel like they've successfully been able to capture not only superhero fans, but fans that aren't necessarily didn't grow up with the comics and stuff like that. They've done that really well. So they might be trying. That might be why it's not 6 hours. I do want to say, because you were talking about what the title might be, and they said that it's something that's already been said. So I find that really fascinating. Could it be like, what did he say? Like, cool it, Squidward, or whatever, like that one. Remember that scene? Yeah, whatever, or something about like a sweet rabbit. I would love that.
If it's called Avengers 4 Sweet Rabbit, oh my God, take my money, please. I'm so excited about that. What's interesting is that they also hinted, I believe this was Joe Russo, coyly hinting, as the Russo brothers are really good at teasing fans, like with the comment you said, Dani. And one of the things that they were asked at a recent Q&A was, when might we see the first trailer for Infinity War 4? And he said that it may or may not happen before 2019.
Oh,
which again is genius at not telling us anything, but it gets us talking on silly shows like Movie Talk about when could we see a trailer. Markeia, is there a chance that we see a trailer for this huge, maybe the biggest movie of all time, before the year is out?
I don't think we're going to see it before the year is out. I don't think that they will, because they have us chomping at the bit too much. And then one thing with like what you brought up with like the title, Dani, because remember back in the day, the Russos were like, oh yeah, whatever this title is, it's something that will scare you. He didn't say like scare diehard fans. He's just like scare you as in general. So my thought process is it has to be something that will scare someone who's not a fan. So it's like if we hear something like, specifically fantastic, then it's just like, okay, we get it, but nobody else will. So it has to be something. So I just turned your question into something else entirely.
No, it's good.
The Avengers, we're all gonna die.
Avengers Disassembled, or the final Avenger, the last Avenger.
Disassembled is great. It's disassembled. Now you get to put them back together.
Literally the end of Avengers 3. That's exactly what happened.
Sam, do you think the title should scare us? And then going back to my previous question that Markeia so ably turned into a better point, was, do you think we're going to see a trailer, any footage before Christmas?
I put it on my list for Santa. So if he's listening, I want that as my Christmas gift this year. I want to see that trailer. I think Markeia is probably right, and we won't see it, but I hope so. To be honest, though, I'm still so laser focused on Captain Marvel that I can't really think about anything else until that happens. Like, that's all I can, that's my whole brain is dedicated to Brie Larson right now, basically at all hours of the day.
Yeah, I mean, Dani, following what Marvel did with the first Infinity War film, I mean, we saw footage of that. We saw trailers of that before Black Panther had come out. So I think that they want to lean into Captain Marvel, and certainly, and if anybody deserves their own movie before Infinity War, it would be Captain Marvel. Don't confuse the brand. But there is a movie that Disney's releasing in theaters, and I know that it's not as big as it used to be with the studio trying to attach one of their properties on the tails of another one that's coming into theaters. Mary Poppins is returning into theaters this Christmas time.
True.
It's very easy to get a bunch of families in there and then scare the crap of all the kids with Avengers 4.
Yeah.
We'll probably see Captain Marvel footage around Christmas time, maybe attached to that movie, or maybe just online, which is how people consume trailers now anyway. Do you think that, are you with me, and do you think that we could see Avengers before the end of the year?
I do, I do think that that's a good point, that they typically do that hype. That's the perfect time, and a lot of the Marvel films will get a sneak peek of the ones that are coming up, so, and I think that's a perfect Christmas time to like drop it and have everyone really excited about it, so.
Disney also has a movie coming out this Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if you heard, there's a movie called Ralph Breaks the Internet, so.
Oh yeah.
More on
in
that.
fact, I think we have somebody on the panel today that is in that movie.
Yes, it was Molly. I just pull up my dog. Ralph Breaks the Internet is dropping this Thanksgiving. I got to voice myself in it. It was really exciting. We had the premiere on Monday. That was actually my first time seeing it, and most of the cast first time as well. So it's great. It's been like a dream.
Is it cool voicing yourself? Like, is that cooler than hey, I play Squid McGillicuddy? Is it cooler to be like, no, I'm actually playing me in a Disney movie?
It was really funny because I think Phil and Pam Ribbon are the ones that wrote the script, and so I came in to do my part, and so I was doing the lines and stuff for my character, for me, and they were like, how would you say it? How would you say it? And I'd be like, oh, hey, like Dani Fernandez, blah, 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 and they're like, do that. So I got to say my name like in it and introduce myself as Dani Fernandez, and I play a host in it because I'm a host online, and he's in the internet. A lot of people have been tweeting, why isn't it Ralph Rex the internet? It should be Rex. Like, and it's obvious, like, it's Disney. They thought of that. And I don't want to speak for them, but I did their press conference, and I moderated their press conference, and something that Rich Moore said was like, the meme is like breaks the internet. And so we knew either way that people were going to be tweeting at us. They knew either way, whichever one they went, that people would be like, that's not right. No, that's not right. So they went with breaks the internet.
It's so cool. Ralph Breaks the Internet comes out Thanksgiving. Dani is in the movie, and as much as I would love to tell everybody, just go see Creed 2 over and over and over again. I actually saw Ralph Breaks the Internet. It's great. But before we get to Thanksgiving movies, there's a new Fantastic Beasts film, The Crimes of Grindelwald, and there was much rejoicing. Or so you thought, and then the first word from critics came out today. It's not overwhelmingly positive for Grindelwald, his crimes, or the Fantastic Beasts therein. It is the sequel to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and that is the prequel to the Harry Potter films. So Harry Potter fans are going to line up to see this movie. I have a feeling that it's pretty critic-proof for them, but for the rest of the general public, I'm having trouble working up an appetite for Fantastic Beasts just because I wasn't whisked off to a magical world of faraway adventure like I thought I would be with the first Fantastic Beasts. Just giving you the general vibe of what people are saying from the first reviews. It looks like it's too many characters, there's too little focus, and the saving grace of charismatic performances and truly magical effects work to some degree. The most telling thing that I found was from Karen Hahn from Polygon. She's a very good reviewer to follow. She mentioned that she wanted more beasts and fewer crimes. And I'm like, damn it, didn't we already go through this with the last one? It was called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I found some beasts, but Sam, I'm a beast guy. I want to see more magical beasts in this world. Is this movie critic-proof, or do you think that these reviews are actually going to hurt the box office opening weekend for the Harry Potter?
I think that parents want something to do with their kids, and Harry Potter has a lot of appeal still, and it's, people are going to go see it. But I'm a diehard Harry Potter fan. My first tattoo was a Harry Potter tattoo. Like, I am the target market for this, and I have no interest in it. Dani and I were talking about this earlier, but like, the only real beast in this movie is Johnny Depp. And like, I went there. I did it, and I went there. And listen, like, that doesn't appeal to me at all. And frankly, I just don't really see, it's the second movie in a trilogy, which is always difficult to make interesting as a standalone film anyways. And I don't really understand it. A lot of that like Dumbledore, Grindelwald backstory that I really wanted was like 20-year-old Dumbledore being really gay or whatever. And I'm not getting that. And I'm just kind of like, I don't really know why this had to be that. I wish it was something totally different. I don't know, I'm sad. I love Harry Potter. It bums me out to say stuff like this.
It's interesting to hear you say that as a huge Harry Potter fan. I mean, Markeia, I think that fans are going to line up, and even if you're like Sam and you hear these reviews and you can agree with the sentiment of some of it, you're still probably going to pay money to go see the movie, but it is the second in a trilogy. What I'm hearing from some critics that have already seen the movie is that it does feel like it's just the fluffy pillow between it's very weak meat in a sandwich where you got the bread here and the bread here closing it out, and then in the middle, it's just kind of
Wow.
Is that what you're worried about?
Well,
we need protein.
You said fluffy pillow, but I'm thinking more like wet spot with it because it's just like it's this thing in between these two. I'm sorry for that analogy. I apologize. But
all you kids watching, ask your parents.
Yeah, don't. But with that, it's just like it feels like they've tried to stretch things out too much, and it was kind of what it reminds me of is like with The Hobbit, for instance, where it's just like, oh, okay, we're gonna turn this thin little book into this epic trilogy, and it's like, well, you're gonna have to add some stuff in there, and it's gonna have to be really good stuff. You're gonna have to read the room and see what people want. So like, having a Dumbledore and maybe a Grindy relationship kind of a thing. Yeah. I would sign on for that, and if anything, it would get people like really interested in either really for it or really against it.
Yeah.
And then you could actually have like this passionate love story that never ended up coming to fruition at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. And then throw a lot more beasts in there because isn't this supposed to be about the monster book too? Like with all the monsters in it? Yeah.
I want more Fantastic Beasts, and they had made clear early on that they weren't, for whatever reason, going to lean into Dumbledore and his sexuality as much as I think a lot of fans would want to see who've read the novels. Dani, do you buy into what critics say about a huge franchise tentpole movie before you go see it, or do you just try to have just earmuffs and not worry about what anybody else is saying until you actually get your eyes on it?
Yeah, I mean, I take a little bit here and there. I know some of those critics, so, it just kind of depends, I would say. But I wanted to go back on your Dumbledore thing because I feel like that's kind of a cop-out, to be like, he's queer, but we're not ever going to show it. And like that happens so much, and it's like, just do it. It's 2018. There's no reason not to. But also, I mean, I agree with you that I think they should be taking more risks. A lot of these movies should be taking more risks. We want something different. We don't want, the same thing kind of regurgitated. And same thing, we need more beasts. Though I will say,
beast mode.
Beetlejuice was only 17 minutes of his own film. So I'm just going to say, and it was called Beetlejuice, but.
You can pack a huge punch. The dinosaurs are only on screen in Jurassic Park for like 9 minutes. But
there you go.
Try to make them a little more memorable, and the second film in a trilogy can just feel like fluff, or it can be The Empire Strikes Back. But I think a way to make The Empire Strikes Back isn't just, if you go back and watch that movie, it's not great because it's darker. That's one of the reasons why it's interesting. There's also a lot of storylines. There's a lot of subtext that you could use. And I'm not saying Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald did not do that, because I haven't seen the movie. I get to see it next week. So once I see it, we'll have more context. But these early returns don't look great. It's like if you look at the voting polls yesterday, these are very early returns, so things could change with the public opinion, with if fans are excited to go see it, if people who are newbies, parents who just want to drop their kids off and have them be entertained for a couple hours. We'll wait to see, because the film doesn't come out this weekend. It comes out next weekend. More on that story as it develops. What I want to quickly remind everybody here is that our new show, For Your Consideration, that talks about a lot of the Oscar fare that's coming out, is going to be having a very special guest in studio this Monday. That's none other than Adam Driver. Adam Driver is going to be here, maybe even sitting in this seat. And he's a lot taller and handsomer than I, but he's going to be joining the FYC crowd. So make sure you guys keep your eyes open for that. I'll see if I can get everybody's studio passes for Monday, and we'll all line up and take selfies with Mr. Driver. Check that out. Our next story involves Netflix. Now, if you guys are familiar with The Jungle Book, remember it was a cute little animated movie that I loved growing up. Then they made it into a live action film that Disney and Jon Favreau did. But there was another Jungle Book movie that was being worked on concurrently and independent of that film, and that's directed by Andy Serkis. He's making his directorial debut with that film. It was going to be live action, but it was going to be darker. It was going to be more of an adult Jungle Book. And then we saw a trailer, and I thought it looked pretty cool. And then we got word this summer that it was going to go to Netflix instead of be theatrically released. And now Netflix has made a statement that instead of the movie coming out in 2019, when they said it originally would, now the movie's going to come out this year, just in time for Christmas. It's going to get its wide release all over the place in December, but they did announce that it's going to be limited theatrically released in certain markets at the end of November. So it's going to be coming out in Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, and London.
Just enough to qualify for Oscars.
Just get that Oscar medal consideration.
Right in there.
That's the reason why I like talking about this story, though, Sam, is that I'd like to get everybody's thoughts on whether we do have an appetite for more Jungle Book, even if it is different and darker and has an incredible vocal cast, kind of like what we got with Jon Favreau's, or if the ship has already sailed and we as a public don't really have the two minds to split our Jungle Books.
I think it's so interesting. This doesn't really answer your question in any particular way, so apologies in advance. But I think it's so interesting how we see this happen with movies all the time, like Armageddon and Deep Impact.
Yeah.
Like there's an idea in Hollywood that seems to happen, and then two people develop it simultaneously, and then ultimately, like, there's one winner or whatever.
Was that Ants in a Bug's Life?
Ants in a Bug's Life.
Transformers and GoBots.
Yeah.
Deep cut. But I find that so interesting. What I think is a bummer about this is, like you said, I think it was probably Andy Serkis, who I think is a brilliant director, and I want to root for, thought that the Disney version was going to be way different than it was, but it ultimately looks exactly like this. And that kind of, I don't know if they're going to be different enough to make me want to see both.
All right, I'm going to try to sell you all on the movie then. Okay. Here we go. I know this might be an uphill battle. Here we go. So Andy Serkis is obviously, not only is he directing, he's the voice of Baloo. So that would be taking over for Bill Murray. That's a tough hill to climb. I love me some Bill Murray, but I love Andy Serkis too, and he's done some great voices in his career. Benedict Cumberbatch is Shere Khan. Christian Bale is Bagheera. Cate Blanchett is Kaa. Naomi Harris is Raksha. Frida Pinto's in the movie. Peter Mullen, Matthew Rhys, Eddie Marsan, Tom Hollander. It's a pretty good cast there, Danny. Have I sold you on needing another Mowgli, even if you can watch it from the comfort of your own living room?
That's so funny because all you did was name the cast. You didn't name anything about the film.
Slightly darker, and it's a little more of an adult
Has
take.
Benedict Cumberbatch, and you're good to go. I don't know. I feel that way because it's like I would love to see this from Andy Serkis. It's so fascinating to me that it's kind of a rival of Disney for how much Disney Marvel stuff he does. Like contractually, I think he has to be in every single one of their films.
Right.
So it's funny that he's doing something that's almost like a competitor, but not, because the Disney one already came out and was successful. So I don't know. I think people are still going to watch it. I don't know if they're going to see it as much theatrically, and they also haven't been marketing it that much.
No, and I think that's part of the brand confusion here, Markeia, is that we saw a trailer for it and it came and went, and everybody was like, "Oh, what Andy Serkis is doing it? I mean, it looks kind of cool. The effects look neat." And now we find out it's going to be on Netflix. But here's the key: Netflix doesn't really need to do a lot of advertising because you're already sitting at home. And what do we all do when we watch Netflix? We turn it on and we see whatever Netflix sells us. I had no idea that The Haunting of Hill House was a thing. I turn on Netflix and I say, "Oh, it's a scary house. All right, I'm in. I'm watching it." Will the same thing happen with the Mowgli movie?
Yeah, I think people are going to watch it, and then there's something to be said with watching things at Netflix and like binging things with Netflix, and then seeing something that you enjoy there, and then being like, "Oh, this is playing in a movie theater nearby. Oh yeah, you know what? Let me go get insert friend here, and like let's go and see this. I know this is a good movie already. That kind of a thing." And I don't see, like, what was that one? The Idris Elba one. No Beasts, Prisoners.
Beasts of No Nation.
Beasts of No Nation. That was so good. Would so see that theatrically. So it is a very real possibility that this, Mowgli. I wanted to say Mogwai. Mowgli.
Don't get Mowgli wet after
Mowgli
midnight.
Movie. Oh, no. that could, with the star-studded cast. I mean, why not? And if it doesn't, oh well, they have Netflix money. What's the lose?
It will be on the front page of Netflix, and that's that is top tier. That's all they have to do as far as Netflix. I don't know about theatrically.
Right, because you can argue as to whether it was originally going to be distributed by Warner Brothers in theaters, like all over the place, like a big theatrical release. And so Warner Brothers, you can say that Warner Brothers dumped it to Netflix, but Netflix didn't get it for free. They paid a pretty penny to get Mowgli. And this is what Netflix's MO has been, is that they realize there's a Disney streaming service coming next year. There's going to be more and more competition for streaming eyeballs, for streaming dollars. And it's not just going to be, I'm stealing one of y'all's password to watch this movie. You're going to have to sign up for a Netflix account if you want to watch Mowgli. I think this is the kind of movie that could attract people to get a Netflix subscription. And it's so interesting that, Markeia, you bring up Beasts of No Nation, because when that film came out, it had such critical acclaim, but I don't think the critics and the Academy voters were over the hump of as far as accepting Netflix movies, even if it gets a limited release. Very different time in 2018. Does anybody think that this could garner some sort of Oscar attention. Probably not for Best Picture, Best Performance, but
visual effects.
Some of the visual effects.
Yeah, almost. I think it would be a real. I mean, listen, I haven't seen it, but we all know Andy Serkis's work, and the fact that he's been messing with this for 3+ years is like, it must be amazing to look at. I think there's probably technology at work here that we haven't seen before, and it definitely deserves that attention.
Maybe the composers too, like maybe the soundtrack as well. It's a possibility.
Nice. Yeah, it certainly gives you a lot of room to play with. I don't know if we're going to get any singing in this, because we got little hints of the classic Jungle Book songs in the Disney version of Jungle Book.
You really want that, don't you?
I need the bare necessities. I do not think we're getting any of it. I think that there's going to be a conscious effort to move away from the sing-along stuff. As much as we all just might want to hear King Louie belt out that song one more time. We have a couple trailers to get to, and then we're going to take your live Twitter questions. Go ahead and start tweeting us right now at Collider Video, and use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. Ask us anything you want in the world of movies. We are here for you today, and we move on to LAIKA. LAIKA, the animation studio, is teaming up with Annapurna Pictures for Missing Link. We got the first trailer today. If you're not familiar with LAIKA, you probably are, and you just don't realize it yet. This film is directed by the writer and director of Paranorman, which was a great movie when it came out, and LAIKA also more recently did the hit Kubo and the Two Strings. Missing Link, Zach Galifianakis plays the missing link. Hugh Jackman is an explorer teaming up with Zoe Saldana. They're going to go look for this missing link character for their own motives, but the missing link himself, the Sasquatch, just wants to find other members of his family, so it's kind of like a buddy cop road movie almost. Dani Fernandez, you see the Missing Link trailer. I know you're a fan of the LAIKA stuff.
Yeah.
Does this one win you over? Is it going to be the family movie, the surprise hit?
Yes, I love their animation so much, and I love when they had a Kubo exhibit here. I don't know if they did in other studios and stuff, but animation is really taking off. It's insane how much, like, because I know there are other animated films that we're going to be talking about too, but it's crazy. I think it used to be something that was allocated to kids, and now it's like, no, this is a huge market for adults as well. I love that they have Zach Galifianakis in it. I love that it's going to be funny, because Kubo was also funny. Actually, most of their films have a comedic background to them.
Yeah, I loved how Kubo was funny, but it also had a very musical vibe to it. And it had a lot of heart, a lot of emotion in there. I have a feeling that I'm just going to tear up at some point watching Zach Galifianakis voice I'm going to feel bad for Missing Link. I'm going to call him Link like Brendan Fraser in Encino Man. I'm excited to see this movie, even more so now that I saw the trailer. Markeia, I know you got to catch it quickly right before we went to air. What are your first thoughts?
Well, my first thoughts is, I'm a Wallace and Gromit kid, so I very much, that's what this reminds me of. You know, like that claymation, that stop motion claymation is just like, and it's gorgeous. For me, it's like, it's twofold. Like, for one, I love the thought of all these people behind doing that. It's like for me with like wine, it's not just the taste of the wine, it's the vineyard and the history that was behind it. For this movie, it's like everybody that's behind it also. So then seeing that type of animation with this and knowing it's, Two Strings, oh my heart. So with that, I'm actually looking forward to making Zach Galifianakis make me cry. I'm looking forward to that, because he's such the funny man when you think of like The Hangover and such, you know. He hasn't reached where Jack Black is right now, where Jack Black can be in something and make you cry and make you laugh in the same movie. I'd like for that to be that bridgeway for Zach Galifianakis.
Well, Sam, over here we have a box of tissues ready for me and Markeia to watch this movie. Are you getting ready for emotions? Are you getting ready for laughs?
Both, definitely. But I totally agree with everything you said. LAIKA is amazing. I loved Coraline. Everything they've made is so... Like you say, multi-genre almost, where it has that humor, but it also is many of their previous movies have been kind of spooky. I'm kind of waiting for the spooky element to come out in this a little bit. I think it's probably in there, but I also wanted to talk about Annapurna, because Annapurna picks winners.
Destroyers are like, I'm looking forward to that.
So good. Every time I see their title card come up in front of a trailer, I'm like, this is going to be a good one. Like, they really go out of their way to pick good films, and so that excites me.
Yeah, and it comes out April 12th of 2019, so it doesn't have the seasonal competition you would if you release an animated movie, say, in the heat of the summer or around Christmas time. So Kubo and the Two Strings, one of my favorite movies of that year. The only issue was the box office. It started to heat up a little bit for that movie, but when you see something like Kubo and you walk out feeling like $1 million, you want the movie to make $100 million, and it fell short of that. So maybe this is the one that not only impresses impresses us again with LAIKA, but also has the box office receipts to back it up, because I think I speak for a lot of people. We'd like to see more of these style movies, especially if you get the vocal talent, if you have the directing talent. I mean, you have somebody who started LAIKA is now directing the Bumblebee movie, so you can go on and do live action stuff, but please don't forget about your animated stop motion roots. All right, we have one more trailer to get to, and that is for UglyDolls. UglyDolls, it's a musical celebration of originality. A whole lot of musicians in this, some voice actors as well. Basically, the story is you have an island that features a bunch of ugly dolls. They're ugly. Look, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and don't nobody know that better than this idiot. But when you look at an ugly doll, it's got like an eye missing, or it's got a bunch of weird teeth or whatever. I think the dolls look cute, but then they go to the land of perfection, and that's when all hell breaks loose. We can just get a tease of it from this trailer. Dani Fernandez, the movie opens May 10th, 2019, so this is like primed to be the kickoff of the summer. It's also going to follow in the wake of Avengers Infinity War Part 2. Yeah. Do you think that this is the next whatever animated movie? Does this feel like anything you've seen before?
It feels like Trolls a little bit to me. It feels a little bit, and this is also a really successful brand. This is a really successful line of toys.
Right, they have a streaming show coming out?
They have a show that's going to be on Hulu, I believe. They have a series, a 26-episode series that's going to be, I don't know if it's come out. Yeah, I don't think so. But this is a very successful brand amongst kids and amongst my niece and nephew. So I think that this is also, like, think the demographics a little bit different. So even though you do have Avengers Infinity War, like, this is going to be a whole bunch of, but I'm saying, like, and there's Pitbull we just saw. I think that's hilarious that they made him look just like, I think he has like a tiny little goatee. I love this.
He just needs like a can of Bud Light.
I think we're just going to get Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide. I think that we are going to get more and more and more animated franchises. And I love animation, so that really excites me. But I'm excited to see because the main cast is all musicians. It's Nick Jonas, Janelle Monáe, Kelly Clarkson. We have Blake Shelton. So it's fascinating, like, how much music is going to be in this.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's nothing that I'm going to line up to go see. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm not just going to be sugarcoating every story here today where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see the LAIKA movie or the Mowgli movie. I don't really care about UglyDolls, but Sam, I think it's going to be good for kids. I think the kids are going to see it. It's going to teach them a nice lesson about, beauty's on the inside and all that crap. I think that when they go see it, it could be fun for adults if they have the fun, the wink and the nod. There's a movie called Sing that had Matthew McConaughey. It was like a koala bear, and it was pretty much felt like The Voice or American Idol.
It was the Despicable Me folks who didn't sing.
And that was, again, I'm not the target demographic, but I found that to be enjoyable. Do you think we could get the same vibe, like what Dani was saying, a Trolls vibe with this?
Listen, UglyDolls have been around since 2001, and I, as a weird and awkward teen, had several UglyDolls. I'm not afraid to say it.
So when your dad was trying to just tell you, hey, Sam, it's all about Johnny Quest, you're like, no, it's not.
It's about the ugly doll life. Like, me, Dad. Anyway, so when I saw that there was going to be a movie for it, I kind of was like, oh, this is a little bit of like my awkward teen years. But what appeals to me about this that might not have appealed to me so much of like a Minions, for example, is the music, actually. Like, as soon as we were like Janelle Monáe's in it, all three of us were like, we're there. Like, immediately. And it's kind of cool. It looks like it's not afraid to be a musical, which I think is kind of neat. People shy away from that label a lot, but whatever. All my favorite movies when I was a kid were musicals.
True.
I think there could be some value in that.
Nice.
Okay,
I think this is
we got some good votes already, Markeia.
Yeah, I'm brand new to this. Yeah, brand new. I didn't know that UglyDolls existed before walking into the studio today. So, but Janelle Monáe. But this just seems so adorable and so apt, especially with like the toxicity that we can have in our environment that people experience like online and everything like this. It seems like with UglyDolls, that no matter what it is, you're going to find something, one of those that represents you. Yeah. And I saw the palette of colors that they had, and like the different, one eye and then one without a leg and everything like that. I'm like, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and have that representation be in UglyDolls. And I like that aspect of them going to the Institute of Perfection, and that's where the humans are. It's like, wow, then that's just a whole other thing. That's pretty deep. Where it's like these ugly dolls, these little monsters in the cutest way, have to then go see real monsters, us, to feel bad about themselves.
True.
I'm going way too deep for this children's movie.
Deeper.
Yeah, that's right. If you think that we're the beautiful people, just look back into our Twitter feeds. You're going to see some ugliness on there.
Great.
I think that if you look at a movie like this, with UglyDolls, like, here's the real question. Who's more adorable? Who's more collectible? Who's more fit to be right under the Christmas tree? Is it a collection of ugly dolls, or is it the monsters from Monsters, Inc.? Who's more cuddly, cute? Ooh. Who do you like in that fight?
I love Boo, though.
No,
I love Boo.
True.
Yeah.
I feel like Monsters Inc. is like...
Yeah, but in her monster garb.
Oh, right. She has turned into... I need to get up on my
like
Monsters
old
Inc.
news.
Yeah,
it happened.
At least say
Get
Monsters You.
Back in my day, we had monsters, and they were incorporated. They were a business. They were a tax shelter. They got screams out of humans. Not like you ugly doll kids. All right, well... UglyDolls wins. Monsters Inc.
Everyone get Mark UglyDolls tickets for Christmas.
Please. I will take all your UglyDolls tickets.
It does come out May 10th, right? Do you know what day that is?
The day that I will have already seen Avengers 3 times?
Yeah, probably.
4 times? Oh, I do know what May 10th is. May 10th is Molly's birthday.
Yeah, she'll be 12.
Molly, the Wonder Dog. She's 12 years old.
adorable.
And every time I tell people when I get to hang out with Molly, they're like, oh, how old is she? She 2 or 3? I'm like, no, she's 11. They're like, she's 11? She still has the puppy energy. Love you,
It's
Molly.
funny to take her around like sorority girls because they're like, puppy, she must be like 6 months old. I'm like, no, but she's 12. She's turning 12, but she has good genes.
There you go.
Yeah, that I passed along to her.
That's it.
We'd like to remind everybody in some freak genetic experiment, Danny's actually the real mother of Molly. We don't need to get into the how and why.
Too much of an inside joke.
Yeah, the whole chromosomal stuff. I don't need to explain to you, but Molly's her mom. I'm just
I like
stepdad occasionally.
Kind of like The Fly or Jeff Goldblum or something.
Totally. Jeff Goldblum is Molly's father.
There we go.
I love that.
You go to Danny's apartment and you're like, what are all these pods?
That man is
weird.
a pure pheromone. So
Agree 100%. Yeah.
Well, I want to remind you guys that tomorrow on Collider, it's going to be Friday, and that means we have an all-new Schmoedown dropping, a new TV talk, and movie review talk hosted by the subdued introvert known as Scott Mantz. You guys can check all that stuff out and more on Collider. And we're going to move on to live Twitter questions, but first, because I am privileged enough to have the talented host of the new Nerdist hit show, Fangirling, here. Markeia, I'll let you kick off. Just tell me about Fangirling and what exactly it is that all the viewers can go check out.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we have new episodes that drop every Thursday. You can watch it on Alpha, you can watch it on Nerdist, or you can watch it on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/fangirling. And basically what it is that we do is that we take pop culture and nerd topics and we take it from a diverse and inclusive point of view. So like we live in this culture. We are steeped in this culture and nerd culture, and then for each of our own particular fields of expertise. Along with that, we have a guest host that comes on, and we focus on not just film and comics, but then a whole lot of other things like self-care, about that. Video games, yes. Horror, definitely. Wrestling coming up. So I mean, there's a lot that each of us brings to the table, and I'm surprised at the people that have come up to me and have said, hey, yeah, I actually really, really love your show. People that I was on Collider Heroes with, part of that panel, they were like, hey, by the way, that was really funny when, and they referenced our show. And I was like, okay, Rob. All right. Nice. You watch Fangirling. All right, cool.
Danny Sam, it's a certifiable hit.
Yeah, I mean, I love all the people that we get to interview. Like, we've had a lot of amazing directors and voice actresses. I got to interview Myrna Velasco, who's on the new Star Wars Resistance, the new voice of She-Ra. Like, we have so many amazing people that have come in, and it's just, it's a lot of fun. And also, like, they just let us geek out. They let us be on a panel and geek out about whatever we're fangirling that week. So we get to promote different projects, and it's the best.
Yeah, and we have a rotating guest host every week as well. So it's great to bring in other awesome women from our community, our geeky community, who get to come in and share what they're fangirling about too, things that we might not know about or might not be into yet. We get to learn about and kind of come away from every episode with something new to go explore, and that's my favorite part.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know a new episode drops every Thursday morning-ish is when it usually comes out. Early. So if that drops Thursday morning, then y'all might have nothing to do in the afternoon, and you can always come by here at the Collider Studios. I've had a blast with y'all already, and now we're going to get into live Twitter questions. So without further ado, one of our all-time favorites, Satendra Banerjee, kicks us off, and he asked, what's your favorite movie musical? It's a broad category. Favorite movie musical of all time. We're talking a lot about singing and dancing. Already on this episode, Sam, Dani, Markeia, any musicals jump to mind as your favorite of all time?
The first one that jumped to mind was Little Shop of Horrors.
Great choice.
I'm telling with Steve Martin, as the dentist, and Audrey too, who was, oh goodness, the singer is escaping my mind right this second, but I believe he was on the Platters. Oh, I forget the name of the person that actually did Audrey too, but yes, Little Shop of Horrors, and then of course Chicago. I mean,
Great
I'm gonna,
choice.
that doesn't make me basic, right? If I say Chicago, because Chicago the musical is so incredible, and I love me some Queen Latifah.
Yeah, I won a few awards in it today.
Are we allowed to do animated? Yeah. I'm an anime. Hands down, Nightmare Before Christmas. Always will rep Nightmare Before Christmas. Nice. Always will rep Nightmare Before. I went on Clark Wolf's podcast, and she was like, I think it just depends. She was like, I liked it. I'm like, no, you got it. It is one of the best animated films, musicals of all time. That, oddly, I play the Prince of Egypt soundtrack constantly.
Oh, I love that
it's so
movie.
good.
Oh my God.
It's so good.
good.
How many decades has it been? It's very good. I just animated films are my favorite musicals. So I think if they count.
If you ride in Dani Fernandez's car, you might hear a Goofy movie come up from time to time.
Yeah,
So.
and
Totally
lately I've been bumping the Hercules soundtrack. So
There you go.
I love them.
Up with what the kids are listening to.
No, I love
Well, we
that.
love us.
Sam Max, you going to go the animated route, or are you going
I'm
to
a
go?
classics fan. Like, I'm going to say Singing in the Rain, just because the dancing in that movie is like, I used to be a dancer, and it's incomparable. It's amazing. And I love Rocky Horror Picture Show. Also, for the same
smart.
Time Warp is classic. And I feel like old school musicals, people used to be all about musicals.
Yeah.
That was like all they made for a while there. So I don't know. I dig those.
I think it'd be fun to be a history teacher. God forbid we don't have the apocalypse in the next 50 years. Let's say you're a teacher of history in like 2070, right? You could show them Singing in the Rain and just be like, no, this is how people acted back then. People they just burst into song all the time. And we just don't get that anymore. My favorite musical of all time, if I'm going live action, I'm probably going Grease. I've just seen it
Grease.
so much.
Classic.
Grease is
so
pretty
good.
great, but then if we go animated, it's hard for me to go against The Lion King.
Yep.
But Aladdin is so funny. The animated Beauty and the Beast from '91.
Yes.
I think it was the first animated movie to be nominated for a Best Picture. So
Correct.
Certainly, there's a lot of great movie musicals out there. I know it's ridiculous. It takes me 5 minutes to remember that we're singing and dancing in the rest of this movie, but I'm a fan of movie musicals. There we go.
Yeah, you should watch Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yeah.
Never seen
That's
Bedknobs and
fun.
Broomsticks.
Also, Mary
fun.
Poppins. I mean,
Yeah.
so great.
Yeah, Mary Poppins. The music's fine. I just found her very overrated as a babysitter. I think she's not good at taking care of the kids. Shove sugar down their throats, and that's
They were
all you do.
alive when he came home. That's what matters.
I was going to agree with
litmus
Mark,
test.
but now I fully
Thank
agree
you.
with you, actually.
Thank you. She had to put up with those bratty kids, those rich kids.
extremely strong argument
Yeah,
from Dani.
thank you.
Oh yeah, there was me between babysitting kids and just like sleeping on a cloud. I'm taking the cloud nap all day long. Our next question comes from another one of our favorites, Salma Ishak, and Salma writes, "You can only watch one of these period pieces: Outlaw King or Mary Queen of Scots." Both coming up.
Mary Queen of Scots.
Salma did not vote, so I'm not sure what she would take if she would take Mary Queen of Scots. But
I'm
Sam,
so stoked for this movie. I'm sorry. I can't wait for. I love the story of Mary Queen of Scots. There was a great independent movie that came out about her story a few years ago. I saw it at TIFF. It was amazing. If any of you have watched Reign, that's kind of a more like stylized take on her life. But her story with Queen Elizabeth is so interesting, and the cast in Mary Queen of Scots is so good. I'm incredibly stoked on it.
Saoirse Ronan, Margot Robbie, David Tennant,
yes.
directed by Josie Rourke.
Yes.
Josie Rourke directs
Yes.
it. Definitely want to see that one, and I believe that one debuted at TIFF as well.
Yes, it did.
As Outlaw King. Outlaw King debuted at TIFF. I was at TIFF, just didn't get a chance to go see it. That's got Chris Pine, and he plays Robert the Bruce, and
Robert the Bruce.
it's basically picking up where Braveheart left off
Yes.
in a way. So
Mark, is this his naked one?
Yes.
Is this the penis out?
I don't know if I'm qualified to answer the question. Does Chris Pine
okay.
get naked in the movie?
Yeah.
Probably.
No, but that is the one, right? Or is it?
It is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, it's not like with Wonder Woman where you don't see everything that you want to see, but you see a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that's what Outlaw Kings is gonna be like.
Okay. I
feel
don't
like
know what that means.
I feel like I've had the opposite of this conversation, like in our rec room when I was like 11, when my friends would come over and spend the night. Just very different about very different subjects. But the Chris Pine Naked controversy, you got to see Outlaw King when it comes out. I think it might
I'm
be.
sorry. I'm
debuting
sure
today.
it's like Academy Award
Tomorrow.
winning. I just was
Scottish
asking.
history amazing, but also the
I just was
peen of
asking
pine,
because.
Oh yeah, I was just saying because he's so small in the back. Well, like he's not in the foreground like he should be.
I wanted to categorize in my head what movie this was, so because I wasn't at TIFF, so I was like, is this the one everyone was tweeting about? I think it is. So,
I'm sure you're honoring everybody who celebrates the rich lineage of Scotland by asking if Chris Pine gets naked in Outlaw King. I do want to see both of them, so I'm going to take Mary Queen of Scots because I find that story a little more intriguing, and it's an uphill battle that Chris Pine's fighting. But I heard the movie's pretty good, Outlaw King.
Yeah.
So
okay, well, I'm doing Mary Queen of Scots because of because of the actors involved in it. I didn't think that I would like I, Tonya, and then seeing Margot Robbie in I, Tonya, it made me really like connect with it. Yeah. So I would go for that. And then of course, Tenet's my doctor, so I have to go with Mary Queen of Scots.
I feel you.
All right, our last question, and wrapping up this week here, Collider Movie Talk comes from John Ashford, and he says, has any one musical artist done a great movie soundtrack for you? So we're back to movie soundtracks. Maybe it's musical, maybe it's something else. For John, he's talking about Queen. When Queen did a lot of Highlander stuff, and obviously also Freddie Mercury was a huge Flash Gordon fan, so he convinced the rest of the band to do Flash Gordon music for that 1980 film. So is there any one musical artist that has done the bulk of the soundtrack for something that you can respond to? Markeia, you seem like you have an answer on the tip of your tongue.
Absolutely, Prince. Prince for Batman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. If you haven't, Purple Rain is absolutely excellent, but it's like, get the Batman soundtrack. I mean, I had that as a kid on cassette tape, and it was just like, I had to keep on replaying that over and over again. You get everything on the first side, and you just flip that sucker over, and you keep on going. Prince, always, every day.
Speaking of the Batman tape, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Ninja Turtles tape that you could get at Pizza Hut, that was the Ninja Turtles singing coming out of our shelves, I will allow that if anybody wants to take it.
Mine's kind of embarrassing, but it's true, so I'm going to go with it. As a child, I had the CD of Tarzan, the Disney movie Tarzan, which was
great.
Entirely Phil Collins,
right.
which is the
really
whitest thing I've ever said. So hello, but man, I love the Tarzan soundtrack so much. I feel like nobody ever talks about Tarzan of the Disney movies. I like
strangers
I
like
represent.
me, you know?
Yeah. Hey, Sarah, what about Phil Collins? It sold out a night of the Forum when it was Game 7 of the World Series this year. So Phil Collins,
Dang.
I don't care for him that much, but staying power. There you go.
There you go.
It was playing behind him the whole time.
Him on the big screen.
I don't know. Does ABBA count? I mean, I feel like they would definitely count. Yeah. I feel like they would definitely count. I can't think of who else has like done like what you said with Phil Collins doing something like that right now currently. But I'm sure I will the second this episode ends.
I was going to say Trent Reznor for the Social Network soundtrack. Also, that's kind of like an instrumental choice because Nine Inch Nails. But
it's a good 9
Did
Inch Nails 5
Kendrick Lamar
injected
do
in
a
there.
lot of the Black
Panther?
Panther?
Yes, totally
So
good
there's
choice.
that one.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar, ABBA, great call as well. I mean, you guys are forgetting the obvious answer. You know it out there. Sing along with me. We're going down in a blaze of glory. Bon Jovi doing the Young Guns 2 soundtrack. It's not just Blaze of Glory, kids. You get Miracle on there. You get Santa Fe. You get Blood Money. There's so many greats, and none of them were used in the movie except for Blaze of Glory. But it's such a great album, all inspired by the greatness it is Young Guns 2.
Oh, you said something whiter than me. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Right at the buzzer. I am so thrilled that y'all were able to join us here today. Let's go around the table, starting with Markeia. Where can all the kids find you out there on the social medias?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Markeia McCarty. That's MarkeiaMcCarty. I'm also on DC Daily. That's on DC Universe. It's a platform that's all comics, TV, DZ. Go ahead and see it. And then if you're into RPGs, a new show of mine has just started. Is Starter Kit. Okay, I'm going to see myself out. Okay, it's Vampire the Masquerade, and that's going to be dropping Thursdays. And there's cast watch-alongs starting at 2 p.m. on Alpha.
Nice.
Danny, we mentioned it before, but I cannot imagine somebody who's worked harder in this industry, who has faced the adversity you've faced to overcome it and to be one of the stars of Disney's Ralph Breaks the Internet. I'm just so happy for you. I was so excited to see you on the big screen. Your character was not only named Dani Fernandez, you look exactly like.
I know. That was a little bit much. I was like, what intern watched all my videos? Chill out. Like, they got how I talk with my hands and then like my very structured jaw. I was like, okay, I feel attacked. No, it was awesome. And I'm at Ms. Dani Fernandez. Yes, go see Ralph Breaks the Internet. That drops November 21st. I also have a show on how stuff works with comedian Ife Wadiwe. It's called Nerdificent, and we cover the past, present, and future of different fandoms. So we just did Spooktober. We had Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Daniel Radford. We have Roger Craig Smith is going to be on our Sonic one dropping in a week or so. We just did a Street Fighter episode, so check it out. Yeah.
That could not have happened to a nicer person who has a sweeter dog. Dani Fernandez. And last but certainly not least, Sam Maggs. In addition to all the cool stuff you do at Fangirling with Nerdist, where else can all the kids find you out there?
You can find me at Sam Maggs on Twitter and Instagram. My third book, Girl Squads, 20 Female Friendships Throughout History, just came out in October. You can pick that up on Amazon or anywhere you buy books. And if you played Spider-Man PS4, you should pick up the second DLC, Turf Wars, which comes out this month. I did some writing on that.
Yes, she did.
Yes, very exciting.
Did.
Yeah, so that's me.
Congratulations. It's so nice and so humbling to see all the talented people on this desk. I'm just Mark Ellis. You'll be catching me telling jokes at the Comedy Store this Friday and Saturday. You can follow me on Twitter at Mark Ellis Live. Throw it to the wide to say goodbye for a great day and a great week here at Collider Movie Talk. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here Monday afternoon.
Bye.
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.